I'm going to show you how I animated this cat tail using a stroke and a stroke path. Then I'll show you some other uses of the same idea with other stuff like these spider legs, this worm, these tails on his mask, and this guy's mustache. But first, we have to learn how not to animate a stroke, because if done wrong, it could take a long time. Hello my little sausages, welcome to Gurg Animation. One way that you shouldn't use to animate a stroke is like this. Make a stroke, we want to decorate it, so make a separate shape layer and add some stripes. Set a matte to the stripes so they only show on the stroke, and it looks good as long as it's not moving, but when we try to animate it or move it, it breaks, and the stripes don't move with it. Not what we want. There's another way that could be good depending on the situation, but it's not as flexible. I'm gonna crop my comp so it only fits the stroke. Make a new comp and bring the old one into it. Add the CC Bended effect and set the start and end points. Add the Grow Bounds effect and drag it before the Bend It. And there you go. It bends in a certain way. And I actually use this method a lot, but only for this specific style of bend. You could add some puppet pins too, and move those around, and that's a fine way to do it. But if you're gonna do it that way, you might as well just do it this way. Make a stroke and drag when you make the point so you get the Bezier handles. Make the ends round however you do that, either through butt capper or through the stroke settings. Now Control D to duplicate it and make it another color. In the twirl down, go to Add and Trim Paths. Go into Trim Paths and adjust the start and end to make a stripe. We don't want a round cap, so change it back to butt cap. Control D and do it again and again. Now I can go to the path of the bottom stroke, the pink one, and move it around. But you'll see we have the same problem we had before, where the stripes don't move with the stroke. So we're gonna go to the path of each stripe and pick whip its path to the path of the stroke. Now we move the stroke and the stripes adjust accordingly. It's beautiful. Oh, another thing you could do is add a trim paths to the stroke, the pink one, and trim it completely. Now if you're making a macaroni necklace for dad or something, you could do it this way. Let's animate it a bit. Just some random movement. Turn the stroke back on and you got this now. Not sure exactly what it is, but I kind of like it. Now let's say our character has a black stroke around it. How can we add that? We'll duplicate the stroke and put it underneath it. Change the stroke color to black and then turn up the thickness until it looks good. And it follows the stroke, but only because of the keyframes, because we duplicated it. We don't want to have to keyframe multiple things. So let's delete these and do like we did before and pick whip the path to the stroke path so it follows it at all times. And it might look like nothing, but you can use this for all kinds of things. So that's how the cat tail was made. Take a look at this transition. The legs were made using the same process. This worm was made just like the example we used earlier. The mask ties on this dancing bunny, same. A little note here, the ends aren't round cap, they're both butt cap. But to make it look right, you have to add a trim paths to the blue one and trim it a tiny bit, or else it will look like this. And last one, this guy's goatee is a stroke layer animated in the same way. A final tip before you go, this way will work if you use a stroke taper, but only if you don't want a black stroke around it. It gets weird in spots when you taper it with a black stroke involved. Thank you for watching this far. Any questions, comments, or animations you make using what you learned here? Let me know in the comments.